Link your returns to the things that go up in price. In this episode, I'm going to address how to earn returns that will outpace inflation. So I'm Doug Andrew, and I've helped people optimize their financial assets, minimize taxes, and outpace inflation now for more than 47 years. What I'm about to share with you will perhaps blow you away because I've trained over 3,000 CPAs, tax attorneys, financial advisors, and when I show them how they can help their clients actually have inflation help them instead of hinder them, oftentimes they sit there with this deer in the headlight look in their eyes and they go, how come I've never learned about this before? Well, it's not taught in traditional colleges and universities or even in advanced courses. I know it because I have taught advanced continuing education to CPAs and tax attorneys. And when I show them what I'm about to teach you, they just are blown away. So would you prefer that I be honest or gentle? Now, when I ask that question, most people say, I want you to be honest. Now, this is not a political agenda here, but I'm going to be honest with you because so many times we experience inflation because of irresponsible government spending, the printing of money, because most politicians do not understand economics. And it's basic economics, and yet somehow they think if they can just give away a lot of free stuff, they'll get elected, but then they have to pay for that. And they have two options: print more money, which is what causes inflation, or tax people, higher and higher taxes. And so these are huge dangers that cause a lot of retirees to outlive their money. So let's talk about what has happened with the government calculating inflation now for the last several decades. So in order to understand the negative impact of inflation so that we can teach you how to outpace it, earn rates of return equal to or greater than the inflation rate, I want you to understand the rule of 72 math. It helps you calculate things just in your head when you understand the rule of 72. So let's go through an example. Using rule of 72 math, let's say that you're earning an average of 7.2%, because this will make it simple. Now people say, well, where do you earn 7.2%? Do you know that during the worst decade since the Great Depression, I'm talking about from the year 2000 to 2010, if you had your money in what my favorite vehicle is, I call it the laser fund, you would have earned 7.23% if you stuck your head in the sand and for 10 years, you just went to sleep like Rip Van Winkle in the year 2000, and you woke up in 2010 and you ask, so what happened while I was dozing or sleeping for 10 years? And people go, you mean you don't know about 9/11, the September 11th terrorist attacks, and how the economy, people lost 40%? No. You don't remember the mortgage meltdown 2008? Most Americans lost 40%, again for the second time in that decade. We call it the lost decade. People aren't even back to break even yet. And you go, really? Well, I had $1 million when I fell asleep. You mean I'm only going to have like 630,000 right now? That's what happened at the end of 2010. And then you look in your account, and if it was the laser fund, your million would have doubled to 2 million. What is that math? Rule of 72. If your money doubles, okay, 1 million doubles to 2 million, 100,000 doubles to 200,000, in 10 years, you divide 10 years into the number 72, and that gives you the compounded interest equivalent. So that's called rule of 72. But let's just say you're earning 7.2%. Your money will double every 10 years. So if you stocked away 125,000 in year one and you never added a dime, rule of 72, your money will double every 10 years. So in year 10, it'll double to 250. In year 20, it doubles from 250 to 500, and it doubles from 500,000 to 1 million. Double, 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 okay? So far, so good. This is what happens in retirement. People have $1 million nest egg, and a lot of people had $1 million nest egg by the year 2000. And let's say it's earning 7.2%. So 7.2% theoretically means you could pull out your interest, $72,000 in annual income, right? Well, you got to pay tax on that if it's an IRA or 401k. A lot of people go, wait a minute, I have to pay tax on my IRA or 401k withdrawals? Yeah, that's been the understanding for years. A lot of people, they almost stick their head in the sand and deal with it at that time because they were told, oh, you'll likely be in a lower bracket. No, most people are not in lower tax brackets when they retire. So let's say between federal and state taxes, you pay a third in tax. So that's $24,000 out of the 72. Now, most people say, well, I won't be in a 33% bracket. You'll probably be in a higher bracket. There's people in California that are in 40 and 50% brackets, especially if this income is on top of other income, maybe real estate rental income or your school teacher pension, Social Security, and so forth, okay? So let's just keep it simple. Most Americans pay about a third in tax. So $72,000 withdrawal, you pay $24,000 in taxes. You net $4,000 a month to buy gas, groceries, prescriptions, and golf green fees. So far, so good? Let's adjust this for inflation. So $1 million at 5% inflation. Now you divide 5% inflation into the number 72, and it will tell you how fast the cost of living will double. Is this making sense? So it doubles in 15 years, 14.4 years. We'll just round it to 15. That means $4,000 a month in 15 years will only buy what $2,000 a month buys today, okay? It means I'm gonna need $8,000 a month, twice as much money to buy the same gallons of gas and loaves of bread that I used to buy for $4,000. Let me ask you a question. If you now need $8,000 a month, you're gonna have to pull out more money out of that $1 million nest egg than you're earning in interest, and what's gonna happen to the nest egg? It's gonna deplete. You'll be out of money within about 11 years. Hold on, we're headed for higher inflation than 5%. Rule of 72 math, inflation at 5%, the cost of living doubles every 15 years. Inflation at 7.2% doubles every 10 years. Inflation at 10%, I remember back in 1980, right after Carter, caused inflation to get up to 13%, and then Ronald Reagan took over. At 10%, it doubles every 7.2 years, but we had 13% inflation with Carter, is where it peaked. At 12%, it doubles every 6 years. Every 6 years, you will need twice the income to buy the same gallons of gas, loaves of bread, haircuts, whatever, that you used to buy just 6 years earlier. Now, people usually say, well, Doug, the consumer price index says inflation is only 4.2%. They've been using smoke and mirrors. Are you ready for the truth? Now, before I share with you how the government's new method of measuring inflation, when they say 4%, it's over 11% the way they used to calculate it. Before I show you that, if this is intriguing you, be sure and share, click like, post a comment, but subscribe to this three-dimensional wealth channel. Why? Because I post an in-depth answer to a financial question like this almost on a daily basis. I don't want you to miss out. But stay with me because I want you to claim your free copy of my most recent 300-page best-selling book. I will pay for the book. You contribute a nominal amount towards the shipping and handling, and I'll fire out a copy to you, and you will understand how you can empower yourself to outpace inflation with your serious cash. So here's the truth about inflation. I read about a 17-page report recently, and you can Google this on the internet. Recently, from the recording of this video today, we've had CNBC, Barron's, Fox Business, Bloomberg, this is Forbes, New York Times, and MarketWatch, all talking about inflation is climbing up to 4.2%, which is significant, but people go, well, 4.2% isn't that bad, but then Americans go to the gas pump and they go, wait a minute. In less than 100 days, gas has gone up 50%. In some areas of California, 100%. People say, well, gas was $2 a gallon, now it's $3. Some say, well, it was $2 and now it's up to $4 where I'm at. Hey, it's just the beginning. Or beef or food. These types of things are going up in price by 50 to 100%. And yet the government comes out and says, oh, inflation's only 4.2%. Well, what did they do? They changed the way they report the consumer price index clear back in the 1980s and 90s. Why? When they started looking at the inflation rate back during the Jimmy Carter years, as I mentioned, inflation topped out at 13%. They said, wait a minute, we are paying retirees Social Security benefits. Social Security is supposed to be increased every year based upon the CPI, Consumer Price Index. And they went, if we have to give retirees 10, 11, 12, 13% increases in Social Security benefits, we're going to go broke even faster than we're going broke on Social Security. And so they said, we're going to change the way we calculate inflation so we don't have to give Social Security recipients increases equal to the real inflation rate. We're just going to change the way we calculate it, and they probably won't figure it out. This is the 17-page report. It was a white paper. And since the early 1980s, they did this to understate the real cost of inflation. The CPI no longer measures the cost of maintaining a constant standard of living. Did you know about this? It no longer measures full inflation for out-of-pocket expenditures. With a misused cover of academic theory, politicians force significant underreporting of official inflation so as to cut annual cost of living adjustments to Social Security. Politicians look to expand further the concept of artificially suppressed. They're not done yet. They still want to do this. And so they're making adjustments. What does this mean? They used to measure inflation with what they called a basket of goods. They would have a basket of goods, and it could be haircuts, it could be food, it could be meat, it could be produce. And so they would have a basket of goods, and they would measure the price or the cost increase of that identical basket of goods from year to year. They haven't been doing that method for a long time. They wanted to calculate it instead of maintaining the same standard of living. They had new methods in computing the consumer price index inflation using substitution methods. I'll just simplify it here. It is assumed that if the price of steak, okay, they used to compare filet mignon one year to filet mignon the next year, same grade of beef. Do you know the government can change to hamburger if they want? They can compare filet mignon the previous year to the cost of hamburger this year because it's still red beef. It's red meat. Hello? Did you know that? It's not an apples to apples comparison, and they can do this smoke and mirrors. And so when they report 4.2% inflation, which is what they reported in April of the year 2021, it was really over 11%. And that's before beef went up and gasoline continued to go up. So if you look at this chart, this is what the government has been reporting since 1981. Inflation rate is when the true apples to apples comparison, basket of goods, this is what the inflation rate really was. This is so they can only pay you a certain increase on your Social Security benefits. Here's another one. It shows the way they get to report inflation is way less than it really is. And so people go, we can't make it anymore. If inflation is only 3% or 4%, why is gas 50% more or 100% more? I don't get it. Yeah, it's because of this smoke and mirrors method. So folks, I'm going to show you the greatest opportunities that you can seize so that you can outpace inflation. So as a financial strategist, I've helped thousands of people make themselves immune from these dangers. How to outpace inflation, you can learn about in my most recent best-selling book. It's called The Laser Fund. This is where I put serious cash. This is where I recommend many retirees roll money out of their IRAs and 401ks and put it in the Laser Fund. It's not a rollover. That's like going from the frying pan into the fire. You want to do a rollout, get the taxes over and done with, and convert to tax-free. So I love this because you converting to tax-free vehicles, you're immune from taxes going up. But you're linking your returns to the things that inflate, so that when inflation goes to 5, you can earn 10 or more. I have many times. When inflation goes to 10, you can earn 15. Back in 1980, when inflation was double digit, I was earning 15.5%. Some years I've earned even 25% and up to 61%, as many people have using the Laser Fund. It also protects you against market volatility by using what is called indexing. Now, in this episode, I can't go through all of those, but this is where you can learn. If you go to laserfund.com and you contribute a nominal amount towards the shipping and handling, I'll fire out a copy to you. And there's options there to listen and learn, watch and learn. But I'm passionate about helping you protect yourself, your hard-earned money, from the negative impact of taxes, but also inflation, how to outpace inflation. When you learn this, this will help you not outlive your money. You'll be able to stay ahead. You won't need twice or 4 times as much income in less than 15 years to buy the same gallons of gas and loaves of bread. Are you getting it? So go to laserfund.com. I want to gift you a copy of this book, and here's to your brighter future.